Hey yogis, Josie here. Welcome to the YogaLocal podcast. I'm here to explain a little bit about what we're teaching in class, how we're trying to move and progress you through practice. I've written a blog which goes into a lot more detail, so I'm not going to go into too much of that detail, but only in as much as how it relates to next week's practice and what's coming up. So I just want to reassert really that, I'm making no secret. I think yoga has a big PR problem on its hands. There's a lot of confusion about what practice is and what it isn't. So read the blog if you want to hear my full kind of rant on that. But just essentially, my feeling is that people are spending more and more time in class, which is great. People are practicing yoga, coming to yoga, but the proportion of their time spent in posture practices, in asana practices, is so much more than the amount of time that people are actually getting to hear and practice the more deeper, more meaningful techniques and limbs of the yoga tradition. So how do we address that here? So we believe that we don't have to have this separation between posture practice and study. Like, our practice should embody all of the limbs of yoga, the meditation, the pranayama, the mudra, the mantra. It's just this amazingly broad spectrum of practices that make it complete and whole. So how does that translate in terms of when you come to practice here? Well, for example, this month, we're particularly focusing on one aspect of the teachings, which is the breath, and a very important part of practice. And we bring that into focus, into the different stages of the Hatha Yoga progression. So anchor class being our moon-based practice, which is more forward folding, twisting, grounding, finding that stability. We are working with twists to just examine how we find it more difficult, right, to breathe in certain postures, in certain twisting postures. So we'll start to really build that relationship with the breath, listen to the body as we have that contraction and release going on, and ultimately use the breath in its most powerful capacity, which is to change our energetic state, right? So it's amazing for reducing stress and bringing our minds back into a place of balance, right? So we're focusing on that in our anchor practice next week with twists, eliminating stress, and using all of the energetics of practice to get us to that place. And I'll teach you more if you come to practice, and you can learn how we do that, not just kind of follow postures and be instructed into shapes without being given that why, right? Why is it important to twist? What energies are we trying to bring our mind into as we twist, right? So anchor practice, lunar practice, fundamentally forward folds, but we're emphasizing the twists this week. And then really bringing the breath into the foreground. In rise, so rise is a shift in our energetic outcome. Rise is about moving the energy up into the heart space, moving and ascending awareness up with this desire for expansion and also internalizing. So having those more subtle experiences. So there's specific strategies for that, which I'm not making up. I'm not creating these. This is what the tradition is teaching. What will get us into that more expansive, energetic breath at the heart, in the chest. What will start to open ourselves up? Laterals, right? Laterals and back bends. So rise practice is always going to be primarily those kind of postures, because it's how we need to move the body in order to create that specific breath. So we will be working with the lateral poses to develop our inhale, make us better breathers, okay? And allow ourselves to start activating the subtler senses. Yoga is an internal journey. Like, we've got the 5 external senses, and we're very, very adept at using those to explore our external world. Once they're fully charged, once we've activated the 5 senses, we can then go in and activate the internal senses so that we can start to explore our environment, our energetic environment, more clearly. We've managed to stabilize our mind through our anchor practice. So that was stage 1. Right, stage 2 of Hatha Yoga is the solar practice, right? It's the illumination. It's it's bringing the energy and that capacity to internalize into our practice, so that then we can move beyond, ultimately into stage 3 Hatha Yoga, which is fire practice, right? The sun and the moon come together, those 2 elements, those energetics of groundedness but vibrancy come together and create this energy of ascension, of like powering up, of being able to step forward into our true self, right? Energetically, we have to lift ourselves up out of our doubts, out of our fears, out of our worries, out of our concerns, out of our stuckness, out of our tightness. And there's a very specific pathway that the yogis and the yoga tradition has laid out for us. And unless we're kind of like aware of that path and where we are on it, you know, we're just randomly, confusingly moving through postures that don't kind of add up to a particular outcome. So in Energize, which is our fire practice, we move to extensions and inversions, which focus on the central channel, so the Sushumna channel. And don't get kind of too freaked out by Sanskrit words. This is something also that, you know, you'll become more familiar with if you're giving the opportunity to understand, right? Left is lunar, right is solar. Central channel is bringing the solar and the lunar together to create the fire. You know, this is metaphorical, and right, we don't have to get too hung up that, you know, well, there's no fire in my belly, Josie, you know. This is kind of like this inner fire, this inner drive that we know that we are more than our physical sense of self. And we use those energies to rise up, bring our minds up out of our conditioned thinking and all that constriction and stuckness and resistance that holds us back from going, actually, yeah, I am more capable, I am more, I'm actually, if I can reach in for those innate feelings of compassion and trust and inner fulfillment, if I create the right mindset and I create the right energetics, you know, that's what the yoga tradition teaches, right? It's all within us. So extensions practice to bring our awareness into that central channel as we bring the lunar and the solar together. And then using mudra, okay? So mudra means great gesture. And, you know, mudra's, on the face of it, you know, if you were to just watch a yogi in a mudra, like it's fierce, it's powerful, but it's very static. We hold those postures, that great gesture for a length of time, so that we can start to introduce those more deeper breathing practices which start to transform the mind, right? Our mind and our breath are so intrinsically linked, and they kind of mirror each other. So if our breath isn't there, our mind isn't there. If our mind isn't there, our breath isn't there. And then through these lovely, powerful extensions practice, which are tapping into this energy of growth and expansion, we hold and we breathe and we maintain our sense of stability and our sense of self. And this is how we find those energies and those qualities that will keep us going on this path, right? I've kind of separated the 3 classes next week and throughout December with this intention. With Anchor, it's like let's find that twist. Let's find that complexity of breathing in a constricted space and eliminate stress, don't stress. In Rise practice, it's more find some spaciousness, right? Let's not rush. Let's build this capacity so that we can hold it with a stable mind, and prepare for that inner fire that's going to then up level us in our energized practice, holding ourselves up, holding that mudra, that great gesture, breathing calmly, slowly stoking that fire and building up our capacity to become, which is what yoga is about, becoming ourselves and our most incredible, capable selves, right? And you know, this is what really excites me and gets me worked up, and I apologize but don't apologize for just really wanting everyone to embrace yoga in its completeness. It's so much more than a physical practice. It's being lumped into the gym environment. The people that run gyms, the people that own these mega corporations that are controlling the yoga industry aren't yogis. And you know, I feel now a real sense of responsibility as a yoga teacher, to really honor these teachings and try and explain them in the best way that I can through the things that I have learned from my practices and from, you know, the incredible training that I had recently during lockdown with Octavio at the practice in Bali. So yeah, my mission is to start to create these conversations more locally, right? Just because we're in Northamptonshire, we're in Wellingborough, it's not the mecca of yoga, doesn't mean we can't like have practices that are incredibly powerful and optimized to help you evolve, right? And show up in the world as you are truly meant to show up in. Or as. Okay, I'm losing the thread now, so probably best I end it there. You can read more in the blog. I would love to have conversations about this. You know, I would love to know if this resonates with you. You know, are you one of those people out there who have been doing class after class, not really understanding what it's all about, still confused but persisting on trying to find that deeper meaning but never really getting it? Are you ready for that conversation? Because we're here to help you to have that conversation. I did say I was going, so I will go now, but thanks for listening. Please sign up for your classes, yogalocal.co.uk, and we'll see you in class soon. Okay, bye for now.